All right, it's Friday night. It's the best night of the week. Work week is done, and we're here with a brand new podcast live stream thingy-majig. I hope my audio is working. But my name is Britt Pierce, for anyone who doesn't know me, and I am joined by a very special guest tonight, possibly our most special guest ever, my husband, the Watch Puppy.
You are too kind, and you're lying. I am not your most special guest ever. But thank you very much. And hello, everybody.
Yeah, so this is something we wanted to start for a while and trial out and pilot. So this is a podcast live stream thing to see how it goes.
I think it's definitely a live stream.
Well, I wanted to have podcasty vibes, you know.
Yeah.
You know. So we are going to talk about watch news whenever it's a busy week. Some weeks won't be busy enough to talk about watch news. This week has been busy enough. Or we'll be talking about niche topics that are too niche for a video, like what bracelets are the best? What constitutes good water resistance?
What does constitute good water resistance?
Well, I mean, it's different per brand. So that would be a whole thing to unpack for a not as busy week as this week has been. Who's in the chat? Can you see the chat from your screen, James?
I can. Somebody seems to think this is Willow. Hey, Cole. Yeah, lots going on in the chat. Watch Girl Live says, hey, Britt. Hey, James. James Bond says, Darky Northerner returns. I do return. So if anybody's a Gringa OG, they will have heard my voice before, because I used to sit at the side and lob in constructive comments during the videos. I then got banned, but I'm back.
Because they weren't constructive at all. They were just mean and making fun of me. But there was a very strong audience who loved it.
Anyway, should we kick off all the way? All good watch podcasts kick off. Oh, you've got a super chat.
We got a super chat already. Rich Mitch, £2. What is Club Tropicana's business model? I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means, Watch Puppy?
BP. Club Tropicana drinks are free.
So it's just, I'm so young. It's before my time, James.
Yeah. So, given that little introduction from Rich Mitch, and thank you very much, let's do a drink check first. What are you drinking, BP?
I'm drinking a lovely, fantastic gin and tonic with some rosemary that's going out of date because I had no fruit or anything to garnish it. How about you?
Say, what are the botanics? I'm quite boring tonight. I've just got a glass of red wine on the go.
But what kind of red wine? Is there a specific bottle you got?
Chateau de Pape.
Chateau de Papa de Neuf?
Something like that, yeah. And what's on the wrist, BP?
Oh, of course. I'm in a bit of a Cartier phase right now. I've been wearing my Cartier Santos a freaking lot lately. Absolutely lovely. Even when we were sitting on the couch earlier today, I was looking down at it and just thinking, gosh, I love how this wears on the wrist. It just wraps perfectly. It's so nice and thin. It's just a great watch. What about you? What are you wearing?
I've got something that we brought in this week, and you said I can't talk about. I was going to wear something else, but so let me give a few clues. It's made of titanium. It's not in the brand's catalog anymore. It's a dive watch from a brand that's not known for dive watches. That's all I'll say. And you're going to be making a video about it soon.
Any guesses in the chat? Any thoughts in the chat? So it's a dive watch super compressor from a brand that doesn't usually make dive watches. Oh my gosh. James, do you want to do the super chat voice?
Super chat.
Super chat coming through. Rich Mitch is back. £2. Took my name off the list for a Sky Dweller today. Whew. Big step. How come?
You've got a super chat in it. Oh, sorry, go on.
Well, I've got so many questions.
Yeah, sorry.
How come? Why don't you want the Sky Dweller anymore? What's going on? What Sky Dweller was it? I'm going to assume for a waiting list, probably a stainless steel, but I need to know everything. Rich Mitch, let us know. Is there another super chat? Super chat. James, do you want to read this one?
Britt and Pappy, I'm really looking forward to this. Just bought my mum a steel and gold Daytona. Woohoo! I got my Panda back. I think you lent that to your mum, didn't you, Cole? To be honest, I'm thinking I'm getting slightly burned out on watches. What's kept you interested? Nep Moonswatch for me right now. What's kept you interested, Britt? I think going down the indie route for me has kept me interested. Not necessarily being able to buy them because they tend to be way out of my allowance. But yeah, I like what's going on in the indie world at the moment.
Yeah. I have little moments where I'm burnt out and kind of sick of it all. And for me, and I've shared this before in a video, going to Nomos, going to Glashütte really revived my passion and love of watches. So I was getting really bored. All my videos that were doing well on my channel were like listicles of best cheap watches you could buy. And I thought,
something with Rolex in the title.
Yeah, or something with Rolex. And I just thought I didn't fall in love with watches because of these things. And I think I was starting to lose it a little bit. But going to Glashütte, especially just being with Nomos and their passion, their love was rubbing off on me. And I've been kind of living off that since, but I'm exactly the same. I go through waves where it's all too much. Then I need to stick my head in the sand for a little bit, disconnect, go outside, touch grass.
Touch grass. You're so down with the kids.
Right. And Cole is back with a super chat, £1.99. Calling it now. Watch Poppy. He's calling it now. IWC Aqua Timer for Poppy or Christopher Ward.
Oh, it's not Christopher Ward.
Say less. Say less.
Yeah. All will be revealed in good time. Anyway, should we get on with some news?
We absolutely should. There's been so much going on this week. Was there anything that caught your eye, James?
Yeah, the big thing that caught my eye this week was the release of the 222 with a blue dial in steel.
Crazy.
So we all saw the gold one. Everybody lusted after the gold one. Everybody was talking about the gold one. But then, so we were up in Leeds over Christmas. We went into Vacheron Constantin up there. We were having a chat with the guys in there, and they said, you know, this is the 270th year for Vacheron Constantin. It's a big anniversary. There's going to be something special coming right in at the start of the year, and then there's going to be more to come. So this is a great way to kick off. And a lot of people have been asking about this. A lot of people have been looking forward to something like this potentially coming. And yeah, just look at it.
No, it looks fantastic. I wish I was able to get a video out about this one in time. Absolutely love. I think this is a slam dunk for them. I think this is exactly what the 222 catalog needed. My only hesitation, and even when we were up in Leeds and we tried on the gold ones, they're a little bit big with the integrated bracelet and the way the case is. So I would say they wear more like a 39 than a 37. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, we had a look at the gold one when we were up there. The Let's Try It On. It was actually offered to me a number of months ago, but it's just, yeah, it wears bigger than the numbers would suggest. It's a beautiful watch. Don't get me wrong. I just think for the amount that they're asking, there's other places I'd want to put my money. But that's just my opinion. It's a great looking watch, and a lot of people have been hankering after it. I think I mentioned this to you, Britt, but one of the things that puts me off is the two Maltese crosses. I really like the little one on the case, and I think if they didn't have the one on the dial, it would look better. I think everybody will probably disagree with me with this, but I really like that little gold one down there at 5 o'clock. It just looks weird with two to me. And the other thing is that the bezel looks a little bit like a beer bottle cap that's crimped on the top of a glass bottle.
So if you were designing the 222, would you take the applied cross off of the dial and just keep it on?
I'd take the one off the dial, yeah, and just have the one down at the 5 o'clock on the case.
I actually agree. It is a bit much.
then you've got to look at the price. Is this £10,000 better than the overseas? I don't think it is.
That's the question. That's the question. It's hard because I do ultimately like this more than the overseas. If I was buying one of these, if I was buying a Vacheron sports model for myself and both of them fit my wrist properly, I would want the Historiques 222 over the overseas aesthetically. But
sorry,
it's not £10,000 more of a watch. With the overseas, you're getting the 3 different straps and bracelets. I don't know if it's £10,000 more of a watch.
I mean, it is a different watch. It's not quite as sporty. It's got a little bit more of a dress bent to it. But I don't know. It just, for a vintage inspired watch, the proportions didn't feel vintage on the wrist. It felt like a modern watch trying to be it's this whole thing that they're all doing now, this reimagined, remastered, reissued, whatever they're branding it as. It, don't know, just didn't work for me.
I'm actually making a video on this right now. So I think this is the first year in the history of cinema where all top 10 selling movies at the cinema, at the box office, were sequels or existing IP. There was nothing original that cracked the top 10. And then I think it was all sequels. And the only one that might have cracked it would have been Wicked, which would have been still not original. Yeah, although not a sequel, it wouldn't have been original IP. And it kind of feels the same with watches. I was going to make some kind of a comparison with watches in cinema right now. It's just reissues and it's safe things over and over again. But I don't know. I can only speak for myself. It's starting to get a little bit stale, I think.
And the other thing, the price, you've got to look at the AP Royal Oak. You've got to compare it to the AP Royal Oak. That's coming in at, I think, 23-ish for a 37mm
or 37.
Yeah, is that £7,000 better? Is the dial more interesting? Absolutely not. Is the bracelet more interesting than the AP? I don't know. I'd struggle to go for that over an AP Royal Oak.
The AP Royal Oak's incredibly well priced for the big three, for the Holy Trinity, when you compare against Patek, because these are closer to Patek prices. Really. So the ladies 7118 stainless steel Nautilus is 27
and a half ish.
Yeah. And I assume if they still made the 5711, it probably would be £33,000, I would imagine.
Yeah, mid-30s. Yeah.
But I want to catch up on the chat really quickly here. We got a few super chats that we've missed. $5 coming through. Looking for a more positive watch channel on Friday evenings. Cheers.
Oh, I'm not sure we've done that, given that we've just been pretty negative about this watch. But we will get more positive. We will get more positive. It's a beautiful watch.
I really, really like it. I really, really like it. I think if I had 30 grand sitting around, I'd be interested. Oh, but I don't.
Cole's just made a good point. The lack of second hands kills it. Would that be an issue for you, Britt?
No, I kind of like lack of second hands. But that's me personally. What about you, James?
It doesn't bother me either. I understand why people like to see the movement on the dial. But so there was an overseas, and I'm not very good with references in the Vacheron area, but they did have a 40mm white gold, grey dialed, ultra thin overseas, just time only, very sort of limited time it was out, and it was gorgeous. It was 40mm versus 41mm. It was a lot thinner. They're going for about £80,000 now secondary, and that is gorgeous, and that doesn't have a second hand. The jumbo doesn't have a second hand. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, I see what Cole's saying though.
I do get
for a sporty watch, it is nice to have some form of seconds. Right, we've got another super chat. Original OC, $2 coming through. Cheers to Brit and Poppy. Upvote the live stream. Stop it. Thank you so much. Oh, another super chat. I'm so sorry I've missed all these. Tim Wright, $1.99. Thank you so much, guys. This is way too kind. Don't forget to hit the upvote button, fellas. Yes, please upvote, upvote. Now, Poppy, we're coming on some of the 222 opinions. Rich Mitch, £2. Come on.
It does look like a PRX.
Ooh.
Like, look at it now on your screen, and I've got a PRX on your desk here in the office. It does look like a PRX.
Rich Mitch, are you trying to ruin this for me? Are you?
It's so much more refined than a PRX, obviously, when you look at the polished bevels and all the rest of it. But I get what you're saying. It's like that Superman meme. Is it Superman? No, Spider-Man meme, where he takes the glasses off and everything's kind of blurred.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to catch up on everything. Love the 222. There seems to be mixed opinions in the chat so far. Sorry, I've been missing it a little bit, guys. We've got another super chat. Do you want to read this one, James?
Sorry, you misunderstood. I mean, I am hoping your channel is the more positive one on Fridays compared to a certain hater we all know. Don't know who he's referring to, but yeah, happy with that. We will definitely be more positive because we're positive.
I know who he's talking about, and we're going to just keep enjoying our lives, talking about watches, because ultimately these are fantastic little timepieces that bring joy, and we're just a bunch of geeks in it together.
Exactly.
We got it.
And part of the joy of it is that we have different opinions. You know, there'll be people that absolutely love this watch and are dying to get their names down on it. I'm sure there'll be a waiting list. Dying to get hold of it, dying to try it on. And that's, you know, that's why this hobby is great.
Yeah, I'd be dying to try this one on. If I could try this on, I would absolutely love to. And then possibly put my name down for one if it looked right.
What did you think of the gold one when we tried it on?
Well, this would be the problem. In my head, the stainless steel is going to fit differently, but it's not going to. There was, just because of the way the case and the integrated bracelet work, I did have overhang, which would be a problem. It's just, I'm sized out. But in my head, it's like, maybe.
Maybe this will shrink down because it's got a blue dial.
Maybe. Oh, Fernando says, so nice to see you both on the live stream. Thank you.
Hey, yeah, Fernando, good to see you.
Yeah, this is something we've been meaning to do for a while and wanting to do for a while. But then we keep pushing it. So we'd be like, okay, this Friday, we're going to do it. But then we'd want to, you know, just stay and put the fire on and ultimately not do it. So I'm so glad we finally got to do this, James.
Yeah,
oh my goodness. We got another super chat. Do you want to take this one, James?
My God, I can't seem to get away from these guys in the chat pushing agendas via super chats. It's disturbing.
I mean, you could push your agenda in the super chats too.
Yeah.
Oh, but thank you. Thank you. Everyone sending super chats is so kind. So that's James's little bit of watch news that he's bringing to the table. What caught my eye this week, and I made a video about it, was, of course, the Speedmaster Moonphase Meteorite. Let me share my screen with you guys. Oh, how do I share something different? Hold on. Stop that screen share. There we go. Okay, screen share.
You're getting a live view of the internal workings of Brit's mind when it's trying to work out IT here. It's incredible.
Wow. So here we have the new Speedmaster Moonphase. I refer to this as the ultimate moon geek watch. If the Speedy Professional just wasn't moon geekery enough, this is meteorite dial, Moonphase of the northern and southern hemisphere. And I would say probably the biggest thing with this new release is the new movement. James, initial thoughts. What do we think?
I am impressed they've made a new movement. I'm not sure I'm overly impressed with the fact that they've covered it up with I was going to call it a 3/4 plate, but it's more than a 3/4 plate. It's probably a 2/5 plate. It covers everything, doesn't it? Let's be honest. The only thing that's there is the balance that's on show. They might as well have just put a solid case back on that and put a hippocampus on it or whatever, or something to do with the moon. Yeah. Don't know. What do you think?
I will say I do agree on the movement, especially because one of the things Omega had with the Speedmaster was being a manual winding chronograph. Chronograph movements are some of the most interesting to look at. And then when it's manual winding, you don't have the giant rotor in the way either. So it's always fantastic to see. And then it's very disappointing when it's covered up with this much of a plate. I'm kind of torn between it, really. So I'm excited that Omega is making new movements. It's always exciting when there's any kind of innovation because a lot of brands aren't doing this. But I don't know. Omega, and I'm sorry, Omega fanboys in the chat, and I know I'm going to hear about it. It feels like they're always so close for me, but they're not ever investing in the things I care about and really want. I really want smaller versions of their models because I love so many Omega watches, but I'm size out of most of them.
There's a few comments in the chat, Brett, and I did notice this on your video as well, saying this isn't actually a new movement. It's a movement they've used previously and then put a module on. I honestly don't pay much attention to Omega, so I don't know, but Omega, but you'll know more than me.
Well, yeah. Well, apparently I don't. Oh, crumbs. What have I done? Let's stop
looks like it's trying to sell you something.
I think it is.
Let me a Meteorite Moonswatch.
Let me try again. I don't have enough money to buy it. I'm just looking. Okay, let's try again. Yeah, I don't know enough about that. I would need to look into it before I could talk about it with any sort of authority. I don't know why I thought it was new then. I'm not sure if they're pitching it as new.
Said it's a new movement, but as with a lot of watch marketing, what they say and what's the truth is not always the same. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. That's very, very fair. So yeah, these groundbreaking Speedmaster timepieces introduced the caliber 9914 for the first time. This manual winding movement, blah, blah, blah. So it would lead one to believe it's new, as I say, introduced for the first time. So maybe it's introducing, the caliber 9900 with some different modules on it, now making it the 9914. Chat, help me fill in anything that I'm getting wrong.
No, that sounds very much what it is, and this is something watch brands do all the time. R&D is expensive. Making a brand new movement from scratch is expensive. So of course they're going to put modules on or are going to tweak a movement they've already got. They'll have all the machines set up to make it. It makes sense, and they can legitimately say it's a new movement because they've not put that module on before. But it's a little bit disingenuous,
right? Super chat, call 199 saying it's not a new movement. Same one with a Moonphase.
There we
go.
That
must be the addition to it. Cheeky
monkeys.
I'm so glad I'm surrounded by people who know more than me. This is really, really good to know. Thank you for highlighting this chat. We've got Rich Mitch, £2 super chat. You think they'll release an auto white dial Speedy, James?
I don't think so. I mean, do you mean like a Speedy Professional automatic? Because there are white dial Speedies out there that are automatic. My friend's just bought one. Again, I don't know much about Omegas. What's the one Dave's just bought? Is it called a Speedy Racing or something, Brett?
Yeah, he's got a Chrono.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, I'm a bit of a Speedy purist. Anytime it's an automatic Speedy, it does feel sacrilege to me. I think they've got a really special niche being manual winding, personally. Yeah. But I've always been against anything changing. I'm a very slow adapter to all change, as I'm sure James can attest. But yeah, we've got another super chat. James, if you want to take over for this one, in the greatest currency in all the land.
What's that, Brett? What does "ka" mean? Ka.
Canadian
super chat for a black diver. Price no issue. CW Lumiere or CQ Pano. So Britt mentioned earlier in this chat that we were out in the Nomos Forum. Well, we've been out the last couple of years. It's around about September, October time. It's held in Glashütte, but we stay in Dresden, which is like the nearest big city. And in Dresden, there's a number of watch shops. It's a great place to visit. It's a beautiful little city. And one of the big boutiques there is a Glashütte original, and they're absolutely fantastic in there. They were so accommodating, so friendly, and they showed us a whole range of CQs. The CQ panel, it's a little bit big for me, but the standard CQ, there's a rose gold one with an exhibition case back, absolutely stunning, and price no issue. That's the one I'd go for.
Yeah.
How about you, Britt?
Oh, every once in a while you get one of those boutique experiences that just makes you fall in love with a brand. And I will say the Glashütte original in Dresden specifically made me fall so in love with the brand. They really take the time to like sit down with you. What do you want to see? Let's get stuff out of the back. Let's get stuff out of the safe. We've got these weird little prototypes. Do you want to see them? So that truly made me fall in love with a brand I already quite liked based on pictures online, all that fun stuff. But I also have a massive place in my heart for Christopher Ward. Money, no issue. I would go Glashütte original. Money, an issue. Christopher Ward. But there's no losing choice. They're both fantastic watches. I had a Lumiere into review. Really loved it. The only edge that the Glashütte original has for me would be size options. So that's me personally, but absolutely loved it. We've got one more super chat, a super sticker, the Watch Colony 299. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. This is amazing. This is fantastic. You guys are way too kind.
There's a lot of people in the chat calling me out as Sean Bean, Britt. Do you know who Sean Bean is?
Do they think I'm married to Sean Bean?
Yeah, do you know who Sean Bean is?
Yes, I know who Sean Bean is. I've watched The Vicar of Dibley. Does Sean Bean also in Lord of the Rings?
He is. He's Ned Stark.
Is he also Ned Stark? I was gonna
Yes. I wish I had Sean Bean's money and influence and all the rest of it, but unfortunately, I'm not Sean Bean. I am James Beanie. Teeny weeny beanie.
You're better than Sean Bean, but I like the rumor that's going around that Watch Gringa is
We're from a very similar neck of the woods, and that's why we sound the same.
We've got super chat. I hear Watch Nicholas pays well for paid guest collabs. It would be cool to see you on his watch stream. I mean, I'm up for anything, but he wouldn't have to pay. I'm not worth anything. So. But thank you so much, Vincent. $4.99. Way too kind. Oh my goodness. $9.99. Albertus Magnus. Hello. This is a beautiful watch with the Meteorite dial. But, and this is the price we haven't, or this is the thing we haven't got to yet. The price at $17,000 is a bit much. I paid $6,000 for my Omega Connie. The Speedy, I like better. The Dark Side of the Moon from a few years back. Totally agreed. So, getting back on topic, I got lost in the deep weeds. The price on these, ouch. James, what do you think? Do you think 16100 is a bit much?
Well, as people have been calling out, I'm from Yorkshire. We have a reputation for being tight. It's a reputation well-founded in fact, and I would not pay that much for an Omega Speedmaster. I'm sorry if anybody loves it and has paid that much. I'm sure you would get at least 20% discount if you went asked for it, maybe in a month or so. It's a nice looking watch. I particularly like the black one. Which is your favorite out of the two colors, Britt?
Probably the darker. I know it's a more boring choice, but I like the black and the dark meteorite. I still like the blue and the lighter. What about you?
Yeah, I'm the same. I like the black. I think it's it's a little bit more understated. I imagine when it hits the light and you get those different reflections off the meteorite, it's going to look absolutely fantastic. But 17 grand for a moon watch.
Oh,
That's going to sting.
oh.
There's a lot going on, but no.
Depends on how much you value the complication. I don't know. I'm someone who's pretty excited about a Moonphase. I really like meteorite dials as well. I do think the price is awfully steep. At a push, I was expecting it to be about £12,000. 16.
Yeah, that would be a fair price. To be honest, I think the across the board, the Speedmaster pricing has gone a little bit crazy recently. But
yeah,
that's just me.
I've been keeping an eye on the Seamaster Diver 300, and I was surprised not to see any price rises recently, but speedy prices are getting up there. Every time we go into the AD and I see the price, I think
they're positioning the Speedmaster above the Seamaster. So for a long time, they were positioned at the same point. They're positioning the Seamaster as the hook into the brand. Understandable, they've spent a lot of money branding it as the James Bond watch. It's the watch that a lot of non-watch people will know about, and it's going to bring people into the brand. It's going to introduce people to the brand. It's going to introduce people into buying more premium watches if they've been into watches before. I could see why they're doing it. It is a less complicated watch. And I think it's probably the best value proposition in the Omega range at the moment. That or the Constellation. I think the Constellation is a great watch. I know you don't like it, but yeah.
Yeah, Constellation's not for me. But hold on, let's not fall too far behind on Super Chats. Super Chats, we've got Don H in the house. Don H, I've been thinking of you because we've not talked in forever. I hope you're doing well. $20 to buy George a beanie. Cheers. Thank you.
And look at that Tudor. What would you call that? A profile pic. That's great.
I love it. We'll have to get Georgia matching the family teeny weeny beanie to fit in with you, James. I mean, Sean Bean.
Sorry, Sean.
I mean, no, I love it. Thank you so much. That's way too kind. Right. Do we have any final thoughts? Anything we want to say on the Omega before we move on, James?
No, I think we've covered it. It's a great watch. Looks great. A lot going on. Too expensive and potentially a bit thick. Did we talk about the thickness?
No, we've not talked about the thickness, but it's disgusting.
I can't say much about the thickness given the thing I've got on my wrist right now, but this can go underwater 2 kilometers apparently. What's the water resistance on this puppy?
50
meters.
Speedmaster standard, yeah. Standard speedy. But as I said in my video, it is a watch I'd be perfectly comfortable wearing swimming, and that's because of you.
Absolutely. I've had 3 Speedmasters. I've swum in all of them, had no issues whatsoever.
Yeah. And, for the swimming, most people are doing. If you're just going to the beach, if you're just, doing a simple
swimming around.
Yeah, recreational swimming, it's going to be completely fine to wear your Speedmaster. But I do understand people's hesitancies as well, being such an expensive item that you want to take good care of and you don't want water damage upon. Oh my goodness, hold the phone. Renee Delapin in the house. Oh my gosh, $2.49 super sticker. Thank you so much. Next super chat, James. Give him a break from my voice.
Brody, $5. Thank you very much. Hi, Britt. So he's talking to you, Britt, not me. Hi, Britt. Thanks for doing a live stream and keep up the best watch industry coverage in Europe. Thank you so much.
Right now.
Oh, stop. Britt, I've got a bit of an emergency. I'm going to have to shoot off.
Oh, crumbs. Is it a George emergency?
No, it's a red wine emergency.
Oh, crumbs. You better shoot off indeed.
I'll be right back.
Something to keep in mind, people who are in the chat. James and I are both here, but he's also upstairs with the baby monitor in case anything happened to George. So He's also on dad duty, but it wasn't a George issue at all. It was just a red wine issue. I'm sure he spilled it all over my expensive computer. But thank you so much, Brody. This is much too kind. I'm just trying to keep up with the other channels that are far greater than mine. Oh my goodness. Another super chat. Super chat. Albertus Magnus back. Thank you so much. $4.99. A big part of the price increase is due to inflation. True. Currency devalues. Absolutely. And beyond Omega's control. In 3 years, the Connie went from 6K to over 9K. Absolutely fair.
Yeah.
Absolutely fair. Yeah. And they still have to keep good margins for themselves. And as all prices go up, workers want higher wages, raw materials cost more.
Yeah, true. Meteorites are just lying around.
Yeah,
You're right. And I've tried to subvert it. The glass is topped up, and I'm good to go again. Shall we move on to the next little item of news, Brett?
Yes, because it's yours to share. What watch news have you brought us?
It's kind of linked to the last little item, and there was a little thing happened over the last sort of 18 months, probably. Swatch, being the parent company of Omega, thought, here's an opportunity to milk this cash cow, and they produced the Moonswatch.
Have people heard of it?
It was quite popular. And the Moonswatch did very well, but there was a common, let's say, there was a thing that people were not upset about, but there was something that made it not quite as wearable as it could be. What would that be, Britt, do you think?
The bioceramic paint transferring onto people's wrists.
That wasn't an issue at all. The real issue is the absolutely god-awful nylon strap that they supplied with the watch.
True. The Velcro, the horrible, terrible strap. Yes, agreed completely.
So, unlike many a watch brand, Swatch actually listened to the consumer, and they've brought out a host of aftermarket straps, which look great. I mean, I've not seen them in person, but they look like they're going to be a lot more wearable, a lot more comfortable. You've got dollars. Yeah. I think they're about £38. They look great. I think they're a really good match to what is a fun, cheap watch.
Yeah, totally agreed. These look fantastic. I would love to get one of these. I have the Mission to Jupiter.
The cynic in me says this was the plan all along, and this is just a way to add an extra 38 / multiples of £38 to the initial purchase price. But hey, maybe that's just how I would operate. I don't know.
I feel like if you're a dum-dum like me who's dumb enough to buy the Moonswatch in the first place, you're like, yeah, I'll pay that. The strap doesn't feel too far off. Honestly, these look a lot better. These are significantly better. Yeah. I like the contrast stitching as well. That looks really good. Oh, look, it's got pictures of it. Oh, love that.
That's very red.
It looks like a lifeguard.
Yeah, I think I might put something on that's a contrast, maybe a black or white. Or
it's hard because the keeper will then be a very specific color.
True. Yeah.
If you know what I mean, because the keeper is made to match.
It looks a bit like a Richard Mille strap, actually.
A brand people famously love, James.
Yeah, it's probably a very similar price point as well.
I actually have a Q&A coming out on Sunday, and once again, I've been defending Richard Mille too much. I think I'm going to lose subscribers. But hey, oh my goodness, we've got another super chat in the finest currency in all the land. Sean Bean has said that he still has the Omega he wore in GoldenEye. Can he show it to the chat?
I actually had that Omega, and
not Sean Bean.
No, I'm not Sean Bean, but I did have that Omega, and I no longer have it because I basically gave it away to a friend of mine so that we would. Oh, anyway, I'm not going to.
So you heard it here first. Sean Bean gave away that GoldenEye Omega. Your information's outdated. He has given it away.
To clarify, I am not Sean Bean. I
What?
did, however, give that watch away.
This is news to me, Sean. We've got another super chat. Sean Bean, do you want to take this one away?
Rolex ADs on the grey market. What is really up, you two?
What is really up, you two? What is going on?
Yeah. I mean, our AD here, we live in a relatively small city in the UK. It's what, 500,000 population?
Yeah, small city.
There's 2 Rolex ADs that are actually part of the Watches of Switzerland group here, and I cannot say anything bad about them. I don't think for a second anything like that is going on here. I don't know if stuff like that goes on elsewhere. You know, you hear stories. I don't know, and I wouldn't like to comment, but all I can say is the people that we interact with here up north, where I'm actually originally from, and in London, I don't think anything like that's going on, but maybe I'm being naive. Who knows?
I think this is the tricky thing, is you can only really speak to what you know. So I know the authorized dealers we deal with here absolutely are not. But if other people
stuff like this goes on, they're scared to death to sell it to somebody who will sell the watch on to the grey market. You know, because they're scared to death of upsetting Rolex.
Yeah, they don't want to upset Rolex. They need to keep that account. And at least the last manager that was at the goldsmiths nearest us would go looking on secondary sites to see if people were flipping the things that were sold out of trust. So I'd say at least Bristol, the enthusiast community is really strong, and they do want to sell to people who are enthusiasts / people who will really value this watch because they are pretty desirable. But I wouldn't put it past other places to be experiencing this either. It's just tricky because we don't experience it. It's easy for me to feel like this isn't happening. People just have these silly conspiracy theories because of my experience, but it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you know, it's going to happen. People are greedy. Sales assistants, to my understanding, aren't paid particularly well, and there's a lot of pressure on them to sell. And if they can make an extra few pounds and they're not in it for the long haul, they don't intend to stay at a particular authorized dealer for a long time. Potentially, I don't know, maybe some of this nefarious interaction is going on behind closed doors, under the table, out of the back door, however you want to put it. But I don't know. I can't comment on it. I've not seen it. I'm not aware of it. I've got nothing but good things to say about the people that we interact with.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I think we also come from a place of having a really good relationship with our AD, whereas, and because they're easy to get along with, it sounds like people have had really horrible experiences. And I've had horrible experiences outside of our authorized dealer that made me think, yeah, wouldn't be interested in buying this watch anyways anymore because of how small salespeople have made me feel.
Well, we both had a horrible experience in Dresden.
Yeah. And well, I had a bad experience in Exeter. You didn't, but I really didn't like this experience. But we'll stop there. I won't say anymore. But I think these Swatch bracelets look awesome.
Yeah, they look great. They really do.
Yeah, I think that's great. Moving on to my next piece of watch news and our final piece of watch news. Tudor. Has everyone seen this? So James actually brought this to me. Yeah, I kind of like it. I'm curious to see what the chat thinks. Let me know, guys. So, Tudor have released a new Black Bay Chrono, a little bit like the pink dial, flamingo blue. So, I think the whole idea is what if a flamingo is blue? So, apparently, flamingos only get their color through what they eat, which I think is prawns. Now,
I'm
imagine
not
if they
sure it's
ate.
prawns. It's some sort of weird little shellfish, but I'm not sure it's prawns. But anyway, yeah, something pink.
I've got prawns in my head.
Um,
They eat some kind of pink thing in the sea. Um, and this is kind of the hypothetical, but what if it was a flamingo and what if it was blue? Which to me is like a cotton candy turquoisey blue. I think it looks awesome. I want to hear what the chat thinks, and I want to hear what you think, Sean Bean.
I like it. I prefer it to the pink. I've got the pink, but I actually like this more, I think. And I'm not entirely sure because I'm not American, but I think it's got a tie in to Miami. Is it like the second kit for Davy B? Is that Victoria Beckham's husband?
Yeah, that's Vicky Beck's husband.
The Spice Girl, Mr. Spice Girl.
Mr. Adams, yeah.
Yeah, so I like the dial color. The watch itself, it's way too thick for a chrono, way too thick. But they're not going to go up against the Daytona and make it as thin as the Daytona, are they? I like the 5-link bracelet. I think it looks good.
T-fit clasp. I really like it on the 5-link bracelet. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, it's a real tie into Miami. I don't know what that is from a business point of view, but they've clearly got some sort of marketing strategy hookup with Miami. It's the Miami Dolphins color. It's the third kit, I think, of Inter Miami FC. It's got something to do with Miami Heat as well. One of their kits is that sort of color. Again, you'll know more than me, but it being a North American. But I think it's a great color, and it looks really good against the pink. It's a really nice. It's that pastel summery color. I can see them maybe doing a couple of more colors, like a pastel yellow, a pastel like more blue, purple as well. I don't know. It's a great summer watch.
I think this was the perfect second to the pink being the first.
Yeah.
So pink isn't usually my color. Like pink doesn't look good on me. My skin's too pink, so I have to wear blue to offset it. So I look like a normal colored human being. So blue is my jam. I really, really like this. I think they've done well with it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think James, or what's he called? Chu.
Yes.
What's he called, James?
Jay.
I kept wanting to call him James. Jay Chow Chu. It's kind of the same marketing strategy that they were doing before with David Beckham. They're really key partners that they work alongside, slowly rolling it out. My only concern would be, I was a bit disappointed with the pink because when it was first announced and when it was first launching, they were making it seem like it was going to be this crazy exclusive watch. Very few people were going to see it. They were going to make so few. And that's what they said. That's what the website said.
And then they give it to absolute plebs like me. It's ridiculous. It just made me think.
Down to the lowest of the low.
Do you think the introduction of this flamingo blue means the end of the pink? Do you think we potentially aren't going to see any more pink entering the market, and this is going to be the next color? They'll bring this out for, I don't know, 6 months a year, and then there might be a new color, and that's what they're going to do.
Sean Bean, I didn't even think about this. My thought process was, okay, then they're not even trying to market this as it's going to be ultra exclusive. So this is going to be not easy to get, but register your interest, see if you can get it. I didn't even think about discontinuing the pink. I don't think they will. I'm basing this off nothing but my initial gut instinct. Do you have a feeling on this?
Well, that was my feeling. That's why I said it.
It's a thought. It's a thought.
Yeah, I mean, it's based in nothing, but if I was head of marketing at Tudor, that's what I'd do. That's what it's based on.
That's really clever. Yeah. Okay. Because we've been nattering away so long. We're missing super chats, James, which is just wrong. Super chat. Albertus Magnus, $4.99. I'm not above buying pre-owned. I should be, but I'm not. I'm not either. I am usually just looking for the best price. I don't like paying more than a brand thinks their product's even worth. I personally won't do it because I am who I am. But yeah, no, pre-owned. It's awesome. It's awesome, baby. What about you, James?
Well, the watch on my wrist right now is pre-owned. So yeah, it's not something I would do. I'd find it difficult to pay over retail if something is still available at retail. If it's been discontinued and the market value is above retail, yeah, happy.
Yeah. Now, even my most worn watch of 2024 was my Tag Heuer Formula One.
Yeah.
Pre-owned, more than happy with it. Yeah, I love a little bit of history with a watch. Come on now. Another super chat. James, I'll let you take this one away.
Another one from Cole. Prediction. The new Tudor Chrono will be the last of the generation. They developed a new movement for only watch auction last year. I'm betting there's a whole new thinner line in Watch and Wonders. That would be amazing. Hopefully, touch wood, fingers crossed. Stroke the rabbit's foot, all the rest of it. What do you think, Brett? I think that would be great. That's the one criticism it's not the one criticism. The other criticism I have is that the snowflake hand, which is iconic and should be on divers watches that Tudor produced, but doesn't actually work on a chrono, covers the chrono for a good amount of the time. But anyway,
I knew you were going to say the hand.
The real issue with the chronograph is it's way too thick on the wrist. It's a chunk.
Yeah, agreed. Because you do own the Tudor Black Bay Chrono, you were lucky enough to get the pink, which is awesome. But yeah, the only big fault I have against it, I do understand the snowflake hand fault, but it doesn't bug me that much. The one big fault I have against it is the thickness. So that would be epic. That would be epic. That would be game changing, I think, for that. Right. We've got another super chat. Finest currency in all the land. $13.99 Canadian. Dear Artifact. It's a numbers game. There are a lot of great ADs all over the world. Sorry, my font's just really small, so I'm doing my best. You just need to find them. It's so true. I've had good experiences and bad experiences. I just prioritize those ADs that give me a good experience. I agree completely. I've had good experiences, bad experiences. We're lucky enough that where we live here in Bristol, both Rolex authorized dealers and both places we go shopping for watches, they're both goldsmiths just on opposite ends of town. They're both fantastic. They have really knowledgeable teams, great catalogs, and they actually want to get watches with the right people, has been my experience. But I've also had experiences elsewhere that just feel a little bit gross and slimy. I've had times where I felt ignored. I've had times where the dealers are trying to make you feel so small and like, oh, nobody gets these watches. You won't get them. We have people who play for sports teams who come here.
I'd say it's a particular issue for you as well, Brett, where you'll find that the sales assistant or whoever we're talking to will talk down to you as if you don't actually understand watches, and they're so condescending. And they'll, oh, this is X, Y, and Z. This does this. This is a perpetual calendar. That means it. And yeah, I've got to watch YouTube channel. I know. And they just ignore it. They continue, and they just talk to her like she's an absolute dum-dum.
I will tell them, I know I love this watch. I think I have two great problems. One, I'm a female, and two, I have a very ditzy voice as well, and a ditzy way about me that people think I'm a dum-dum all the time. And generally that's correct. But sometimes we go into watch shops and I think, oh, and I'll try to begin the conversation as I know. So I'll try to begin the conversation with, yeah, this is 37 millimeters. The movement in this is this and this. But still, I'll get talked down to. Fascinating stuff. We got another super chat. James, give him a break from my voice.
Albertus Magnus 44, $4.99. Thank you so much. Any chance Omega, and others will develop smaller and thinner versions of their movements? It would be good. A good move, seems to me. Got to agree with you. It would absolutely be a good move. I'd be interested to hear what the chat thinks around sizing and where they think sizing is going. I've seen a definite move in the zeitgeist towards smaller watches over the last sort of 18 months. And it's kind of made me rail against that a bit. And I'm now looking at bigger watches, especially for the summer. But what does the chat think?
Yeah. And I'm surprised you didn't say this, James, because this is something we talk about regularly with Omega. I think the problem with them developing smaller and thinner movements is coaxial. Because they're married to coaxial escapements, they just are thicker. We were recently at British Watchmakers and we had
but you're a girl, you don't know about coaxial.
I'm so dumb. Yeah, we were recently at British Watchmakers and we had the fantastic honor and pleasure of seeing some Roger Smith timepieces. Amazing, incredible. But I was very surprised by the thickness. And once again, I think it's just coaxial. No matter how you want to slice and dice it, it is an improvement to the Swiss lever escapement. It's better. It makes oils and lubrication theoretically unnecessary. It's fantastic, but it comes with a thickness trade-off.
The thing is, Britt, as oil technology has improved over the years, and you'll see this in many a brand now, the service intervals have improved because the oil is more stable and doesn't break down as quickly as it used to. So the supposed improvement of the coaxial design over the lever escapement is like the delta is getting smaller. I'm not sure it's so much of an improvement. It depends what you view as more important. I don't mind servicing a watch every 10 years for a thinner watch.
I agree completely. Even as I was saying, for anyone who was around here for the beginning of the video, I'm wearing my Cartier Santos Dumont. I was looking down at it before coming on live stream tonight. And one of the things I love so much about it is how thin it is. It's quartz. It's quartz. It's a two-hander. You never really notice anything other than you can set and forget. Every time I put it on, it's telling the right time. One of the things I love about it the most is how thin it is. I think there's a place for both. So, James, we were talking tonight about how we both love an obnoxiously big watch every now and again. You're a fan of the AP Royal Oak Offshore. I want to get a Seamaster Diver 300 just to be, for a normal sized wrist, it's a good size. But for me, in a smaller 5.5-inch wrist, it would be obnoxiously oversized. I think there's a place for everything, but tastes in general seem to be moving smaller and thinner.
Yeah. And that's not a bad thing. I think for a long time, men have felt 36 millimeter is and I'm doing air quotes here, you can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes, a lady's watch or a girl's watch. And 36 millimeter is far from a girl's watch. It's, to me anyway, it's the perfect size. It's fantastic.
I would say it's a very tasteful size on an average men's wrist.
Yeah.
Even
a big guy can pull off a 36, but
oh my gosh, we got another super chat in the finest currency in all the land. Canadian friends, $5. OG Kush Philippe. Hi, I'm trying to help my friend who is a catalytic converter engineer from Pittsburgh. James, do you know what this is? Is this car stuff?
Yep.
Okay. He wants to know if a diamond day date screams Pennsylvania to you. Well, I'm a bad person to ask because Pittsburgh isn't my jam anyways. I'm a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers. I'm a fan of Philly always. But if we put
Go
sports
Flyers.
affili if we put all go Birds. If we put all sports affiliations aside, James, do you have any strong feelings on a diamond day date?
So Rolex brought out a green dialed, yellow gold baguette diamond dial did it. This Watches and Wonders. I've not seen one in person, but I think the green is going to be the same as the Daytona and the, I'm going to call it the Hulk, the Hulk Submariner dial with baguette diamonds. I think it's going to look fantastic. I don't think it screams anything. I just think it'll look great. I like diamonds. I know you don't, Brett, but I like diamonds on a watch.
Sean Bean is a diamond girly.
Diamond bitch.
Look, I love day dates with diamonds. Every person's tastes are unique and personal to them. Some people will love diamonds and gem setting, and some people it won't be as much for them. I think it's got a time and a place, and it's a little bit of fun. For me personally, I would go no diamonds, but for James, you would go diamonds. So it's always hard to say. Right, we've got another super chat. Super chat. Otto is asking for $10. Thank you so much as well. You guys have all been way too generous. Thank you. The chat thinks Pano. So I think that's going back to our Glass Huta original versus Christopher Ward. Super chat. Really like the 44 millimeter Radiomir CA dial. I don't know what the CA dial is, but I know the Radiomir.
California dial.
Oh, of course, of course. Thoughts on that model? I really like the Radiomir. I think it's pretty cool. It wouldn't be my Panerai of choice.
You tried on a 38 millimeter Panerai, and I don't know the model. Was that a Radomir that was sort of shrunk down, or was it something different? But it looked absolutely fantastic on you. It looked really good.
No, it's not the Radiomir. The Radiomir is the one that looks kind of old school.
It's the sandwich style one, isn't it? But I thought that was the one you tried. Was it not?
Was a sandwich style is just very Panerai in general. Why is it escaping me? Luminor. I tried on a Luminor Duet.
Yeah, it was.
Really like the Luminor Duet. For me, it's everything I want from Panerai. So let me pull up the Radiomir. So it doesn't have the crown guard. So let's share this tab. But yeah, we want a California dial. Honestly, I think it's great looking. Here. This is kind of origins of Panerai. Looks fantastic.
There's a lot of open dial space on that for me.
True.
For a big watch, I think the standard dial is slightly better personally, because I think it just fills in a bit of that open dial space. But
I think if you have the wrist presence to pull that off, though, if you have the wrist size to pull that off, that would look really good. Yeah, for me in the world of Panerai, hold on, let me pull it up. Come on now, Luminor Duet. So Luminor Duet is a little bit controversial because it looks like a Luminor, but it has like no water resistance, which is very sad. I just think it's good looking though. It's better sizes. I don't know how I feel about Panerai bracelets. I would go strap. This would be one of the few times I would go strap over bracelet. Oh, James, do you remember trying these on?
I do.
Yeah.
I remember you trying them on. Yeah.
Yeah. These are great. Oh my goodness. Another super chat. James, give him a break for my voice.
Tried the new Laureato 38 this week. Amazing dial and perfect size. Have you tried it yet?
So good.
So a good friend of ours, Matt, who is Time to Loom on Instagram, has the 38 millimeter Laureato chronograph. It's absolutely fantastic. It looks great on his little weenie wrists. It looks great on my massive 7-inch wrists. It's a great watch. Yeah, really love it.
Yeah, love it. And it also wears surprisingly smaller than you think it might.
Because the
So we've
42
tried on the
doesn't wear
42
like a
exactly.
42 at all. Yeah, it wears more like a 39/40, and it's great. It's a great watch.
So usually if you say 42 millimeter to me, I'd be like, forget about it. But it wears
Forget
dang
about it.
lovely. Yeah,
Awesome.
it wears dang lovely. Even with my tiny wrist, I would feel pretty comfortable getting a 38 millimeter Girard-Perregaux. Looks great. Fantastic. The finishing is really great as well. It's
It
hard to
really is.
capture when you're just, looking at it online, but when you see one in person, it is next level.
The brushing is so good. In some lights, it looks like oil on water. Like you get that real sort of weird translucent color, I guess, against it, where I think it's to do with the refraction of the light. It just looks like a rainbow almost. It's really, really good. It's
Yeah.
it's
Because
up
at
there with
first,
the
when you look at the price, you think for a time and date, that seems really steep. But when you do see one in the metal, hold it, feel the quality of it, I still think the price is steep.
well, when you compare it to an AP Royal Oak, again, we looked earlier
Very.
at the 222 and we said, yeah, £30,000, €35,000, $40,000, whatever it is. We compare that to a Royal Oak and we said the Royal Oak's cheaper, and it's a similar sort of level. This isn't a million miles off the Royal Oak for a fraction of the cost. It's and this is relative. It's an absolute bargain. It really is good.
Very relative and comparative. But yeah, and I would say the finishing, he's dang close to AP, if not as good, in my humble opinion.
Mm.
Yeah. AD, AD never calling 9.99. Great live stream, Britt. We love your content. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you're enjoying this. I'm having a great time. I told James hard finish after 1 hour, but I'm having so much fun. So thank you so much, guys. Very last thing we should do before we finish. I think we've covered all the watch news. Do you have anything you want to add before we end this out, James?
No, just a big thank you to everybody in the chat for joining in tonight and giving some great comments. I've been sort of watching it in the background. There's a lot of chat going on between the guys in the chat, and that's good. That's what this watch fam is all about.
Oh, Sean Bean, don't make them think the live stream's over. We've got one more game to play before we conclude. If this becomes a weekly thing, we've got a game to play before this ends. I'll start it out. It's called Guess That Price. Guess that price.
Like a dick now, aren't you?
Yeah, no, I'm not, because I'm going to give you a slightly easier one here.
That's going to make me look even more stupid if I don't get it. Oh my God.
I think you'll be okay. So I'm going to give you a watch that I know a little bit about, and I need you to guess that price. Can you see my screen?
Yeah. Oh shit.
So this
my mind is like 3 years ago when these were $5,000.
This is the cheapest JLC Reverso, stainless steel quartz at retail. I want you to guess, what is the cheapest price?
Is this UK pounds?
This is in British pounds.
Yeah.
So for a quartz stainless steel, little tiny, teeny weeny Reverso, guess that price.
7.2.
We should make rules around this. Like, do you have 5% either way or something like that?
Oh, it's just your game. You make the rules up. Am I close? Do I? Oh shit! I'm miles off.
You went much higher than I thought you were going to go.
Yeah, that's because I've been sad about the reverso price increases recently. But yeah.
So these retail right now for 6.4, which I think is still really steep. So although people are guessing higher than 6.4, if you compare it to the cheapest Cartier tank you can buy, which will be, pretty.
But can you flick a tank around while you're in a boring Teams meeting?
No, but people try to act like this is like revolutionary technology. They're like, but it costs a lot to make it flip around. And it's like, I'm not saying it's worth nothing, but
a lot, but it's probably worth £1,000. It's worth £1,000 a year to have that fidget spinner.
maybe 1,000, but is it worth 3,000?
Oh shit! No, probably not.
So these are the cheapest. So this would be a small tank solar beat, which would
Oh,
be
the
quite
tank went down.
small.
Sorry.
Let's go large. Let's be generous and go large. It would still be 3.3 in pounds for a large solar beat. And although it doesn't flick around, although it's not a fidget spinner for people with too much money and weird watch addictions, I don't know. JLC, it's hurting my heart.
Yeah. That's a hard sell, isn't it? Double the price. Yeah, and the tank's classy AF, as the kids say.
Yeah, like Vinci Low is just saying, yeah, never mind. I can flip it myself. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll just flip this around.
Yeah.
Right. Well done on our first ever guess set price. Next week, if we do this again, James, if I can.
I was miles off.
Well, you tried your best and we all had fun. So you get a participation ribbon.
Oh, thank you.
Oh my goodness. Well, Rich Mitch just doesn't want this to end. He's sending through a £2 super chat. Tell me your thoughts on the Carrier 2961.
Grabs phone, Googles quickly.
How quickly does he Google?
Oh, Cartier, he means, I think.
Oh.
So it's the Carré.
Oh, of course. Of course. Big
Yeah.
love. Big love. This is exactly where I see my collection going. This is exactly where I want to go into. And I've said on a recent video that's going to be coming out very soon is I'm trying to spend less money on watches. And by trying to spend, I mean, I now have a lot of financial constraints because I've had a child. And I actually really like having financial constraints because it had me looking secondary a lot more. And it's finding and discovering models like this that I wouldn't have done before because I would just go find something new and just be in all the boutiques.
I think you like the Galbé better than the Carré, don't you?
I do like the Galbé better, personally. But what do you think, James?
Oh, I like that Ghost style.
Yeah.
So there's also one that's like a blood red Ghost style. I don't know the reference, but it's very similar to that. But it's like a ox blood red. It's stunning. It's really good.
Yeah. Love it. Well, this is a fantastic place to end the live stream, I think. Talking about one of my favorite brands, Cartier. Thank you so much, James, for trying this out with me. Thank you so much to the chat. If anyone's watching afterwards, let me know in the comments down below if you like this format, if you want this to keep going. And hopefully see you guys next week if you guys liked it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.